Have you ever felt like you're giving more of yourself than you're getting back in a relationship, and yet you keep fighting alone? Today I'm going to show you why you, as a man, might decide to walk away from a woman, even when there are still feelings involved, and what signs make it clear that you're not being valued as you should be. Think about it. You make an effort, you invest time, attention, and care, but it seems like none of it makes a difference. You realize when you're just an option and not a priority, and as a man who respects himself, you know you can't live in that situation. Walking away isn't a lack of love. It's the way you find to protect your dignity and your inner peace. Stick with me to the end, because I'm going to detail 20 signs that show that walking away isn't giving up, but rather acting with emotional intelligence and self-love. After understanding this, you'll see your relationships in a whole new light and know how to recognize instantly when persistence becomes unnecessary wear and tear.
Before we continue, I need to tell you something. This video only reached you because someone liked it and subscribed to our channel. Now it's your turn to do the same. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell, so this chain of knowledge keeps growing and reaching more people. Also, comment down below which city you're watching from, because I want to know how far this video is traveling. Now, no more delays, let's get to the good stuff.
First reason, you realize you're not valued. Have you ever stopped to notice that, no matter how much you do to please and give, your actions seem to go unnoticed? The feeling of investing time, effort, and attention, and receiving little to no recognition, silently erodes your self-esteem. When you realize this, your emotional self-preservation instinct begins to give clear signals. You're not being treated the way you deserve. It's as if all your effort is on a scale that never balances. Every unanswered message, every ignored plan, or every moment you're put in second place accumulates an internal tension that you can no longer ignore. And deep down, you know that staying in this situation is accepting less than your worth. You realize it's not just a matter of pride. It's a need for respect and reciprocity. When you realize you're constantly trying to show your worth and getting nothing in return, it lights up an internal warning. Something needs to change, because you weren't meant to be invisible or underestimated in a relationship. It's at this point that many men decide to take a step back. It's not a decision made out of anger or revenge, but out of awareness. You walk away to regain your own self-worth, to remind yourself that your time, your dedication, and your feelings have a value that cannot be ignored.
If you're tired of watching her play games, ignore you, and do whatever she wants with your feelings, it's time to show who's in charge of the game. It's time to make her chase you and recognize your true value. In the first pinned comment, I've left a step-by-step guide on how to make her pursue you. Plus, you'll level up and become the best version of yourself. Click now.
Second reason, you feel you're giving more than you're receiving. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I'm giving too much and getting too little in return? This feeling corrodes what you feel inside, because you can see there's a clear imbalance between effort and return. When you realize this, you start to see that you're carrying the weight of the relationship alone, while the other person seems to simply be comfortable. It's like you're a river that flows incessantly, and on the other side, no one is drinking from the water you offer. Every gesture you make, every loving word, or every planned initiative seems to evaporate without a trace. And deep down, you feel that this emotional strain is not natural, that it shouldn't be this way in a healthy relationship. This perception isn't about demanding or selfishness, it's about emotional fairness. You understand that giving without reciprocity is a cycle that only drains you, and that insisting on this pattern will end up leaving you frustrated, exhausted, and unmotivated to connect with someone who truly deserves your commitment. It's at this moment that you realize walking away isn't giving up on love, but rather protecting your emotional energy. When you recognize that you're giving more than you receive, you take a strategic step to preserve your balance and put yourself first, showing that your time and feelings have value. Third reason, you realize you've become just an option, not a priority. Have you ever felt that, no matter how much you try and are present, you're only remembered when it's convenient for her? It's a clear sign that you've stopped being a priority in her life and have started to occupy the space of someone optional. This realization hurts, because you see that the effort you put into the relationship doesn't generate the same commitment or consideration. It's like being on a stage, giving your all, while she watches from the audience, without really getting involved. Every time you realize that your messages, dates, or gestures only appear on her schedule when she needs them, the frustration grows silently. And then, without even realizing it, you start to question if it's worth continuing in this dynamic. When you understand that you're not a priority, the feeling of unfairness intensifies. You feel that your dedication, your affection, and your presence are being underestimated, and this slowly erodes your motivation to give. It's a natural alert from your self-preservation instinct. You weren't meant to be in the background of someone's life who should value you. It's at this point that many men choose to walk away. It's not a decision out of anger, but out of self-respect. By realizing you've become just an option, you walk away to regain your dignity, protect your time and energy, and make space for relationships where your presence is truly valued. Fourth reason, you're tired of chasing alone. Have you ever felt that silent exhaustion of always being the one who chases, who seeks contact, who makes the effort to keep the relationship alive? There comes a time when this becomes exhausting, and you realize that emotional balance has simply disappeared. Chasing alone is like rowing against the current. You give your all and seem to not move an inch. It's a feeling that corrodes you from the inside. Every one of your attempts to get closer, every gesture of affection or attention, seems to fall into a void. You start to notice that the other person doesn't bother to make an effort with the same intensity, and this makes it clear that the relationship is unbalanced. You feel you're carrying something alone that should be mutual. This emotional fatigue isn't weakness, it's an understanding of your limits. You understand that insisting on rowing alone will only wear you out more, draining your energy and your desire to truly connect. Your body and mind send clear signals. Continuing like this is not healthy and will not generate genuine reciprocity. It's at this moment that you decide to walk away. It's not because of a lack of feelings, but out of self-love and respect for your effort. When you realize you're chasing alone, walking away is a way to regain your balance, set boundaries, and seek relationships where your dedication is naturally reciprocated. Fifth reason, you understand you're being used. Have you ever had that uncomfortable feeling that, no matter how much you dedicate yourself, you're just filling a temporary need for her? It's as if all your effort, affection, and presence are consumed without return, and you start to realize you're just a tool for her interests. This realization hurts because you know you deserve something genuine, not a relationship of convenience. It's like being available for everything she wants, but realizing the same doesn't happen when you need something. Every one of your gestures is taken advantage of, but reciprocity disappears. It's at this point that you feel the weight of emotional exploitation. You give, but you don't receive, and this slowly corrodes your sense of belonging in the relationship. When you understand you're being used, your body and mind send clear warning signals. You realize that continuing in this cycle will only drain your energy, your self-esteem, and your sense of worth. It's a decisive moment when you need to ask yourself, is it worth staying in something that only consumes me? That's when the decision to walk away becomes inevitable. It's not a lack of love or the will to fight, but self-love in action. By realizing you're being used, you take a step back to protect your dignity, preserve your energy, and seek relationships where your effort and dedication are truly valued. Sixth reason, you realize there's no reciprocity. Have you ever noticed that, no matter how much you try, the other side simply doesn't keep up with your pace? It's like being in a dance where you're taking all the steps, but your partner doesn't respond. This imbalance creates frustration and makes you feel like you're carrying the entire relationship alone. When there's no reciprocity, your effort becomes heavy, and the connection that should be mutual disappears. It's impossible to ignore the signs. Every gesture you make, every bit of care you offer, isn't reciprocated in the same way. You start to notice that your feelings and actions have no real impact, and this slowly erodes your motivation to give. What was supposed to be a partnership becomes a one-way street, draining your emotional energy. The lack of reciprocity isn't just annoying, it's an alert about your own worth. You understand that you deserve someone who puts in as much effort as you do, who values your presence and your commitment. Staying in a one-sided relationship is giving up on your dignity and your inner peace. It's at this point that you decide to walk away. It's not because of a lack of love, but out of self-respect. By realizing there's no reciprocity, You choose to preserve your energy, your self-esteem, and put yourself in relationships where the effort is genuinely shared. 7th reason, you feel there's no respect. Have you ever realized that, no matter how much you try and give, your opinions, feelings, and boundaries are constantly ignored? This is a clear sign of a lack of respect. When you realize your actions aren't taken seriously, you start to feel an emotional strain that goes beyond frustration. It's a threat to your self-esteem and your dignity. It's like being on unstable ground. Every step you take is challenged, minimized, or devalued. You notice small attitudes that make it clear you're not a priority and that your emotional space isn't respected. This type of behavior slowly erodes trust and makes you feel vulnerable in something that should be safe. When you feel the absence of respect, your body and mind respond. The instinct for protection arises naturally, showing that staying in this situation is harmful. You understand that no one deserves to feel inferior or be treated as less than they really are, especially in a relationship that should be about support and partnership. It's at this point that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not about anger or revenge, but about preserving your dignity and emotional balance. By recognizing that there's no respect, you decide to set clear boundaries and seek relationships where your presence, your feelings, and your boundaries are truly valued. 8th reason, you realize you're only remembered when she needs you. Have you ever felt that frustration of only getting attention when someone needs something from you? It's a clear sign that you're being treated as a resource and not as someone important in her life. When you realize your presence is only valued in moments of convenience, the feeling of disrespect and imbalance grows rapidly. It's like your life is on her autopilot. You only show up to solve problems, offer support, or meet needs, but you're rarely sought out for genuine moments of connection. Every time this happens, your emotional effort seems to be used and discarded without any reciprocity. Realizing this is painful, but also liberating. You start to understand that your worth isn't tied to how much you can serve others, but rather to how much you are respected and cared for by those who truly matter. Continuing in a relationship like this is giving up on your self-esteem and your peace. It's at this point that you decide to walk away. It's not because of a lack of feelings, but out of self-love and an awareness of your worth. By realizing you're only remembered when it's convenient, you create space for relationships where your presence is desired, respected, and genuinely valued. 9th reason, you understand you're not part of her plans. Have you noticed clear signs that, no matter how much you try, your place in her life was never a priority? Maybe her plans always exclude you or your needs are put on the back burner. When this happens, it's impossible to ignore the feeling that you don't truly belong in her story. It's like trying to get into a game where the rules weren't made for you. Every attempt to get closer or create something together seems to run into invisible barriers. You feel that, no matter how much you dedicate yourself, your role will never be central, and this corrodes the motivation to give emotionally. Recognizing this isn't about pride or stubbornness. It's about seeing the reality of the relationship. You understand that investing time and energy in someone who doesn't include you in their plans is a path of wear and tear and frustration. Your emotional self-preservation instinct kicks in, reminding you that you deserve to be where your worth is recognized and respected. It's at this moment that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not a matter of giving up on love, but rather of protecting your peace and your dignity. By realizing you're not part of her plans, you choose to set clear boundaries and seek relationships where your place is genuinely valued and desired. 10th reason, you walk away to regain your peace. Have you ever felt that, no matter how hard you try, the relationship starts to steal your tranquility and emotional balance? When this happens, your body and mind send clear signals. It's time to stop and protect yourself. The decision to walk away isn't because of a lack of feelings, but rather to regain the peace you deserve. It's like taking a deep breath after a long period of tension. Every gesture, every conversation, and every situation that was once a source of stress starts to weigh on you, and you realize that staying in this emotional routine only erodes your self-esteem. Walking away is the most direct way to put your life in order and regain your well-being. This decision doesn't mean giving up on love, but recognizing that there are limits to how much you can give without being reciprocated. You understand that your emotional health is worth more than any insistence or attempt to maintain something that has become draining. By walking away to regain your peace, You take control of your life and your feelings. It's an act of self-love and emotional maturity, which allows you to value yourself and put yourself first, making space for more balanced and healthy relationships. 11th reason, you see that you're wasting time. Have you ever stopped to think that, no matter how much you try, you're investing energy in something that doesn't give you a real return? The feeling of wasting your time with someone who doesn't reciprocate emotionally starts to weigh on you, and your instinct alerts you. You deserve more than to insist on something that won't evolve. It's like trying to build a house on unstable ground. No matter how much effort you put in, it will never be solid. Every attempt to get closer or make the relationship work seems to fall into a void, and you realize you're dedicating your life to something that doesn't value you the way it should. When you understand you're wasting time, you realize that every moment spent could be invested in yourself, in your growth, in your happiness, and in relationships where there is balance and reciprocity. The awareness that your time is valuable awakens the need to take action before the wear and tear becomes irreversible. It's at this point that you decide to walk away. It's not because of giving up, but out of respect for your time and your energy. By realizing you're wasting time, you choose to put yourself first and make space for opportunities that truly deserve your emotional investment. 12th reason, you understand that insisting is humiliating yourself. Have you ever caught yourself insisting on something that isn't reciprocal and, little by little, realize that this is diminishing you? The feeling of making an effort without a return, of putting yourself in second place, is draining. When you understand that insisting on someone who doesn't value your feelings is emotional humiliation, your self-preservation instinct kicks in. It's like trying to light a candle underwater. No matter how hard you try, nothing happens. Every gesture you make, every attempt to get closer, seems useless. The awareness that continuing to insist will only put you in a vulnerable situation makes you rethink your choices. Recognizing this isn't pride or selfishness, it's self-respect. You understand that repeatedly submitting to a lack of consideration erodes your self-esteem and corrodes your dignity. Persisting in this cycle is giving up on who you really are and the value you deserve in a relationship. It's at this point that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not giving up on love, but acting with emotional intelligence and self-love. By realizing that insisting is humiliating yourself, you protect your dignity, regain your confidence, and make space for relationships where your worth is truly recognized. 13th reason, you feel the relationship drains you. Have you ever noticed that, instead of feeling motivated and happy, this relationship leaves you exhausted and emotionally drained? When every meeting, every conversation, or every effort you make starts to consume more energy than it brings joy, it's a clear sign that something is wrong. You feel you're being drained, and this is not natural in a healthy relationship. It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks. Every step becomes heavier. Every one of your gestures weighs on your body and mind. You give and give, but you get very little in return. The lack of emotional balance begins to affect not only the relationship, but also your personal well-being and your self-esteem. Recognizing that the relationship drains you is an alert about your own worth. You understand that you deserve to be in something that strengthens you, that energizes you, and that brings reciprocity, and not in a cycle that exhausts you. Your emotional self-preservation instinct kicks in, showing you that it's time to change course. It's at this moment that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not a lack of love, but self-love in action. By realizing the relationship drains you, you choose to protect your energy, your balance, and your well-being, making space for healthier and more gratifying experiences. 14th reason, you realize that silence is stronger than words. Have you ever noticed that, in certain situations, what she doesn't say weighs more than anything she could say? When silence becomes constant, you feel that your attempts at dialogue, affection, or getting closer have no effect. This silence speaks louder than any conversation and makes it clear that something essential is missing from the relationship. It's like being in a room where no one answers your questions. Every attempt to connect is ignored, and frustration grows silently. You realize that your words, efforts, and feelings are not being considered, and this slowly corrodes the motivation to continue investing emotionally. Recognizing the power of silence is realizing the reality of the relationship. You understand that it's not just a lack of communication, but an absence of genuine interest. Staying in this environment of indifference is allowing your worth to be disregarded, and that's not something you deserve. It's at this point that you decide to walk away. It's not out of anger or impulsiveness, but out of self-respect and for your own dignity. By realizing that silence speaks louder than words, you choose to protect your inner peace and put yourself in relationships where your presence and your worth are truly recognized. 15th reason, you walk away to preserve your dignity. Have you ever felt that certain attitudes or situations are putting your self-esteem and your dignity at risk? When you realize that staying in the relationship means giving up on self-respect, it's a clear sign that it's time to walk away. Preserving your dignity isn't pride, it's emotional self-protection. It's like holding a firm boundary that cannot be crossed. Every gesture or decision that threatens your honor makes you feel diminished, and staying in this scenario is allowing it to continue happening. Dignity is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and when it is compromised, nothing else sustains emotional balance. Recognizing that it's necessary to preserve your dignity is an act of awareness and courage. You understand that walking away doesn't mean giving up on love, but rather reaffirming your worth. It's choosing not to submit to situations that diminish who you truly are. When you decide to walk away to protect your dignity, you are setting clear boundaries and sending an important message that your presence, your time, and your feelings have value. This step is not only strategic, but essential to maintain your self-esteem and make space for relationships where you will be truly respected. 16th reason, you understand you can't love alone. Have you ever realized that, no matter how much you dedicate and give yourself, love needs to be reciprocal to truly exist? Loving alone is exhausting, and you start to feel like you're carrying the entire emotional responsibility of the relationship alone. When you realize this, you understand that you can't build something healthy without the genuine participation of the other person. It's like trying to light a bonfire alone. You put in all your energy, but without additional fuel, it will never sustain itself. Every gesture you make, every display of affection, needs to be reciprocated for love to strengthen. When this doesn't happen, you feel the weight of the strain and the need to protect yourself. Recognizing that you can't love alone isn't a lack of feeling, but emotional intelligence. You understand that insisting on something one-sided will only drain you emotionally and corrode your self-esteem. Healthy love requires balance, reciprocity, and mutual respect, and you deserve to experience that. It's at this moment that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not because of giving up on love, but out of self-love and an awareness of your worth. By realizing you can't love alone, you protect yourself, regain your energy, and make space for relationships where affection is true and shared. 17th reason, you realize she doesn't admire you. Have you ever felt that, no matter how much you try, your achievements, qualities, and efforts aren't truly admired? When you realize that you don't inspire genuine admiration or respect, it's a clear sign that the relationship has lost the essential connection that maintains attraction and the emotional bond. It's like showing your best version and receiving only indifference in return. Every gesture, every achievement, or every display of dedication goes unnoticed, and you feel that your worth isn't recognized. This slowly corrodes your self-esteem and makes you question whether it's worth continuing to invest so much emotionally. Recognizing that you're not admired isn't about selfishness, but about seeing your own worth. You understand that you deserve someone who looks at you with respect, enthusiasm, and genuine admiration, and not someone who accepts your presence without valuing what you offer. It's at this point that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not a lack of love or dedication, but self-love in action. By realizing she doesn't admire you, you choose to preserve your self-esteem, protect your emotional energy, and make space for relationships where your presence and your qualities are truly recognized. 18th reason, you understand she never truly valued you. Have you realized, deep down, that all the affection and effort you dedicated were never truly recognized? When you understand that she never valued your effort, your time, and your feelings, it becomes clear that continuing to invest would just be giving up on your self-esteem and your dignity. It's like giving your all in a game that was never fair. You give yourself, and you care, but you don't receive the same consideration in return. This realization hurts, because you start to see that there was never emotional balance or genuine respect in the relationship. Recognizing that you were never valued isn't a matter of pride, but rather of awareness of your own worth. You understand that you deserve to be with someone who sees your effort, who recognizes your qualities, and who is willing to reciprocate in a real and consistent way. It's at this point that it becomes necessary to walk away. It's not giving up on love, but acting in defense of your well-being and self-esteem. By realizing you were never truly valued, you protect your dignity, regain your emotional energy, and make space for relationships where your presence is genuinely recognized and appreciated. 19th reason. You see that love has become dependency. Have you noticed that, instead of feeling lightness and connection, the relationship has started to trap you and emotionally suffocate you? When love stops being healthy and turns into dependency, you feel you're carrying more weight than you should, a weight that erodes your freedom and your emotional balance. It's like being caught in an invisible chain. You still care, you still dedicate yourself, but the relationship doesn't flow naturally. Every gesture you make becomes an attempt to maintain something that, in reality, has already lost its lightness and reciprocity. What was love transforms into need, and this wears down your self-esteem and your energy. Recognizing that love has become dependency isn't weakness, it's emotional clarity. You understand that you deserve to feel valued and free, instead of feeling hostage to circumstances. Staying in this cycle only prolongs the frustration and prevents you from finding something truly healthy. It's at this moment that you decide to walk away. It's not a lack of feelings, but self-love in action. By realizing that love has become a dependency, you protect yourself, regain your freedom, and make space for relationships where affection is balanced, reciprocal, and strengthening. 20th reason. You understand that walking away is self-love. Have you ever realized that, no matter how much feeling there is, continuing in the relationship can cost you your peace, your self-esteem, and your dignity? At this moment, walking away stops being an act of moving away from love and transforms into a clear demonstration of self-love. It's recognizing that you deserve to be in relationships where you are respected, valued, and reciprocated. It's like setting firm boundaries to protect your own emotional life. Every step you take to distance yourself isn't a lack of courage or weakness, but rather emotional intelligence. You understand that preserving your integrity is more important than insisting on something that isn't good for you. When you make the decision to walk away, you are reaffirming your worth and your self-esteem. You understand that loving yourself also means saying no to situations that diminish you, that drain you, or that don't offer reciprocity. It's an act of maturity and self-respect. Walking away, in this context, isn't giving up on love, but rather acting in defense of your peace and your dignity. By doing so, you make space for true, balanced, and healthy relationships, where your effort, affection, and presence will be genuinely valued. If this video made a difference for you, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Every video we create here is made with great care, always with the goal of helping you develop and achieve your best version. We want to share practical and direct tips that truly have a positive impact on your life. So, don't waste time and comment the word gratitude and the phrase "in search of my best version" below. With that, the algorithm will take this video to even more men who are looking for growth. Your engagement in the comments is essential for our content to reach those who need these tips most. In addition, your support with a like and a subscription to the channel strengthens our work and gives us motivation to continue creating valuable content for your journey. The more you interact, the more men will also have access to this type of information, which only helps our mission to transform lives. So, thank you for being with us on this journey. Stay tuned for the next videos, because we're always bringing new things to help you evolve. A big hug, and see you in the next video.